This is Where Secrets Are Still Kept, the performance lecture version. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Museum of Human Achievement for hosting this event and sponsoring this project, and to Welcome to My Homepage Digital Artist Residency for the platform and context and some kind of recognition of and stability for the work. I am Noah Travis Phillips, presenting from my bedroom in Boulder, Colorado. I really wanted to come to Austin. I have never been there before. Maybe next time. Some other time. If I think of Austin, I think of Willie Nelson. His trilogy, Shotgun Willie, Phases and Stages, and Red-Headed Stranger, was central to the soundtrack when making this piece. Give it a try sometime. Listen to those 3 albums in that order. I dare you. But when I started talking with my wife and daughter around the table, where we share 2 meals a day almost every day, I was being lectured about the monetary and carbon footprints of the adventure, and it made a lot of sense. So instead, I am presenting to you virtually, which is likely appropriate for the nature of the project I'm here to tell you about. I'm going to dive right in and try to give you all something worth looking at and thinking about. My bedroom has always been an important artistic or aesthetic or even exhibition space. I don't know if anyone else ever feels like that. There are a handful of minute-length videos throughout the presentation, and I'm going to let those play through. Hopefully you can enjoy them. It also gives me a chance to stay hydrated. Drink more water. And I have always wanted to do a show in which I take everything off the walls of my bedroom and recreate that on gallery walls. But I'm also shy. For me, the bedroom is undeniably a secret and magical space. It's a chandelier sculpture in the bedroom. This is actually a demo I made for the students in my 4D design class at the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. I made this the same day I made the 3D scans. There are some 3D printed models in there. Pollen, laser etched on neon orange acrylic. I think I'm going to put a beat behind all of this later. Post-production. There are also some companion images here that make an appearance again later in the presentation. I will often make a collage like this as a kind of companion or mood board for another project I'm working on. A 12-inch by 12-inch square of silver glitter. Much of this presentation will be kind of bathed in this pink light. For the Welcome to My Homepage Digital Artist Residency, I made 3D scans of my bedroom. That's the door corner. That's a mirror on the left, and my reflection in the mirror on the far left, to give some sense of how these 3D scans can get distorted in interesting ways. I then worked with various algorithmic systems to introduce imagery from my private media archives into the 3D scans. The project is called or titled Where Secrets Are Still Kept. So this is to suggest something about the bedroom as a private and intimate space, and how it can still exist that way in the present, in our contemporary moment. The imagery introduced into these 3D scans remains cryptic, even esoteric. I'd like to talk to you about some of the individual images in just a moment here. I guess we can address each of the spaces within the room. Rooms within the room, suggesting the fourth dimension, fourth wall, but maybe that's just me. I made a 3D scan of each area of my bedroom. Door corner, open closet, above bed, NTP desk, plant corner, J-dresser/bookshelf, and then it loops. You can see already there's a lot going on in this bedroom. It's a kind of strange way of multi-dimensionally depicting this space. That is actually a map of the project. That's the door corner in the upper left. And anti-clockwise from that is open closet, then above bed, and NTP desk, and then plant corner in the upper right, and J dresser/bookshelf at the top, with bed in the center. We begin at the door corner, the obvious entry and starting point in this kind of spiraling space. The door corner is where you enter, where you exit. The threshold. Let's look at some of the individual images from my private archive and how they fit into the space of the 3D scans. So that picture on the far left, the flower, is a Dr. Huey rose. A lot of the rootstock of your more decorative roses is actually Dr. Huey. And if that pretty part dies, for whatever reason, maybe it freezes one particularly cold winter, or else it gets a disease or some kind of bug, the heartier rootstock can often live anyway and grow back as Dr. Huey. It's a really charming flower. From Dr. Huey on the left to Dr. Strange on the far right is a page from a classic Dr. Strange comic. And then I recursively applied the content aware fill in Photoshop to erase whatever I didn't really want in the picture, like figures. I'm also really digging those scribbles in the lower left and the braids in the upper right too. Even the two of them together. That orange piece is from my friend Ian, or iDeath on Instagram. Ian and I have a curatorial project featured in the Wrong Biennale for New Digital Art. It's called Rhizome Parking Garage. 35 international artists, multiple autonomous router exhibitions in parking garages around the world. Keep an eye out for it. Hummingbirds and their shadows. Sienna Blaze on the lower right, there is a comic character. There will be a number of those throughout this presentation. Sienna Blaze has the power to fire deadly force blasts of electromagnetic energy. When they fire these blasts, they literally rip apart large sections of the Earth's magnetic field, and this causes localized ecological disasters. They seemed to have a pretty strong promotional campaign within comics, and excitement about them was really built up, but then they disappeared, just kind of weren't ever mentioned again. That's another comic character up top there, Danielle Moonstar, originally codenamed Psyche and later Mirage. She's a fictional Cheyenne hero. She has the power to communicate with animals and to create three-dimensional images of visual concepts from within the minds of herself and others. Her most developed ability allowed her to manifest people's fears or desires as realistic illusions. She has even displayed the ability to focus her psionic powers into energy arrows, which stun an opponent by disrupting their central nervous system or forcing them to relive a traumatic memory. a beehive on a branch, kind of naked on the far right, and at the bottom is this time I saw the trees sparkle and was able to get a picture. I'm not going to address every image in these, just to try to give some highlights or points of interest. Sand and snow down in the bottom right. That's the interior cover of Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. On the left, a photograph titled Hand Through a Doorway from The Somnambulist of 1970 by Ralph Gibson. Gucci Wolf jacket on the right. We move to the left to the open closet. Thinking of these vaguely like stages or like theater, there are these dramas in the compositions. I really like that tiger raptor. Freed Slave on the upper left. I took this famous sculpture by Hiram Powers from the 1800s or something, and I removed the chain from the arm in these drawings and photographs of the sculpture and even a 3D model. It's really subtle, but there she is, the freed slave. On the right with the green is from an unsolicited collaboration I did with Hito Sterl last year. Yonic, planet-splitting seed, that image of death with the arrow, and in the bottom right is pagans dancing around the shrine. Unsolicited collaboration with Hito Sterl again on the lower left. That's a picture of my wife's wedding dress on the far right that she made these special edition prints of for Mused, this New York fashion label. 20-sided dice, parrot feathers, Dark Side of the Moon, neon remix, caustics and acoustics, camouflage and content-aware fill, desert diagram, thinking of you, Texas. Again to the left, we are now above bed. The different areas take on such different attitudes. Different personalities of the spaces are obvious here. That's a 3D model of a bearded dragon. We have a house dragon named Beardo Kitty Lizardi. Watercolor of a crystal by Joseph Beuys, kissing that symbol in the center. Those two images on the right are companions of one another, and prints of those pictures are actually in the bedroom on the walls here. I wanted them to have more resolution, clarity, and legibility from the 3D scan, but also to have these different resolutions of imagery and space. More resolutions. The color palette here is really nice right now. It's warm. And the line of that burn slithering towards the sun, waxing crescent moon in the left hand up there. Darkness in this one and kind of archaic. Black hole tribal sun, devil leading a pack of dogs, ritual deer figure. And that's a 3D scan of Viracocha, the supreme god of the Incas. This one's kind of cosmic. You can see the brush strokes and their shadows in the 3D space, kind of inserted into the original space of the scan, a two-dimensional PNG image. William Blake's Sunrise in the lower right, and that Joseph Albers sketch in oranges. That empty Steal Your Face logo at the bottom is fun. That rainbow pattern is actually two patterns. The more textural background is a frottage or wax rubbing of the area of the wall directly above my wife's head and the area directly above mine as we sleep. And the more graphic pattern that gradients from blue to yellow on top is from William S. Burroughs and Brian Geison's Dream Machine. The bed is more secret. It's kind of like the secret track of the album. You could think of it that way. Online exclusive content. Go find it. Moving on or over to my desk area. These have a more shallow space overall, more planar and kind of flat. It also features a mirror, but I don't know how clearly that comes across in the 3D scan. I was more interested in how the 3D scans occurred naturally or even casually, as it is my bedroom, rather than accurate, and I'm putting that in quotes, or realistic, so-called realism. Rainbow and lightning in the upper left, a green candle wizard holding vigil, playing drums about the lake to the lake, and a butterfly from Sandman. On the lower left is the first 3D model I ever made. It's about Antelope Island in the Great Salt Lake, and the beaches there at sunset. It's like another planet, or another world. That's another iteration or remix of that model. A really different drama in this image and area of the space. That black and white ink drawing at the top is from the Secret Block for a Secret Person by Joseph Beuys, and the sculpture from Led Zeppelin's Presence album on the far left. That red pattern beneath it is a project from undergrad, in which I used a 6-foot wood beam to press and smash red paint, honey, salt, and graphite into raw canvas. It's called Muscle. Durer's Wing, with that mysterious profile, and that bright blue rug serving as the backdrop to all of this. On the left is another comic character in this strange narrative. Their name is Landscape. They only appear in like one issue of Uncanny X-Men from the mid-90s. Anyway, he has the mutant power to basically project virtual worlds around others. As we continue to rotate left throughout the room space, we reach the plant corner. Jungle, tropical, environmental, kind of like a waterfall in form. The pink light trying to keep these houseplants going in the winter is also responsible for the pink hue in the other images. I made all these 3D scans in winter when I first found out I got the Welcome to My Homepage digital artist residency. I tried to make a pretty interesting lighting situation, turning on all of the lights in the room, except the overhead. Sphinx heart in gold on the far right, and this sculpture by Louis Bourgeois, The Ecstatic. I always thought of it as before the war, because I photocopied a picture of a drawing that looks so much like that a long time ago. And the closest text says before the war. Floral, back cover of a Van Gogh book on the left. Some of these are more interested in kind of materiality and affective proximity, like the lightning and lighting here, the fluorescent lights of 2 different colors, and the LEDs. Gold quantum computer on the left, and the corner of a decorative architectural element depiction of a good luck charm in the corner. There are other interesting things in here, but some mystery must remain. J. Dresser bookshelf. This one is really lovely, I think. The color palette and the light quality and spaciousness. Makeup swatch on my forearm in the mirror. Ikebana and an augmented reality flower vase on the dresser. Ikebana is traditional Japanese flower arrangement, but there is also an entire avant-garde of this sculpture with flowers. Acoustic guitar AI misrecognition on the left, and forest shrine on the right. A kind of duet. Laser cut bracelet on the left, kissing mountains, diagram of abstraction in art with all text removed, and a René Magritte titled Plagiarism on the right. In the spirit of defiance of larger powers, a brick atop 3 eggs atop a mirror. That's a brick made of Denver clay, 3 farm-fresh, fertile chicken eggs, and a square mirror, and an ancient horse headdress in the upper right. And beneath that is an experiment with a mannequin head and Mike Tyson face tattoo. Dark Pegasus Victory with a moon head, 3D model on the left, those kinds of chimeric combinations, and it's racing toward the moon, which is actually concealing a large drum that looks like the moon from the 3D scan behind it. And from here the space loops back to the door corner. Instead, we're going to enter an interlude to visit warming structures. Warming structures engages a similar sense of space. This time we're immersed in overhead projector and digital projector and digitally collaged material. I would also suggest that this project is exploring some material questions, curiosities, and dynamics. Warming structures is maybe conceptually and materially regarding the materials depicted more abstract than where secrets are still kept. This project is like a landscape surrounding the place or room where secrets are still kept. Smooth and striated. Motifs repeat and shift. Collision/conversation, maybe collision more than conversation. There's a kind of sequencing, choreography, even here. Themes are shared. Anyway, spoiler alert, I even made an entire fictional documentation for the exhibition at Museum of Human Achievement. Imagine yourself here, you and your friends, drunk or whatever, looking pretty good. Contact me after this and I'll send you the documentation. I love it when a project can have another life like this, another existence. So, thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you. Have a good one. As promised at the beginning, a stone for each. The story of a young woman, a comet, and a rollicking rampage of revenge. Bootleg Mothlight 2. We are destroying the environment, and that's sad, but moths drink tears. Planet Earth is a giant cosmic hard drive hyper object. Blue seasons, black holes. Green screen, flora, forest. Also, I've got an interview I just did with Montreality. You can find that at my personal website, noahtravisphillips.com. Thank you. Be good and have fun.